In this video, I'm gonna show you how to completely disassemble the SSG96 MK2, and in the next one, I'm gonna show you how to put it back together. So let's get started. Let's take off the scope first, because this will make it much easier for us to do things, because we can put it like this and it will stay in place. Now, take this Allen key, we will loosen up this screw and this screw to remove the receiver with the barrel, just like that. They are captured in the stock, so you don't have to be worried about losing them. They will not fall out. All right, now we also remove the bipod, and there is this bipod stud. Actually, you can also use it for having a bipod there. It's just not the best way. This one is much faster, much more secure. So I call it bipod stud, but it is really a screw like this. Okay, now we can lift it up. Also, before you do that, remove the magazine. That is a good idea. And now we have it separate. Now, here, that's it. We don't need to disassemble it. There is nothing really of interest or anything that would break, so you will not really go into the stock. So we will put it aside, and here is the interesting part. Take this one, put it aside, don't lose it. This is where this part screws in. And how do you put it there? Here you see a slot, and it holds in there like this, and it makes everything more solid when it's in place in the stock. Now we will continue by removing the stopper. Just pull on it and get it out like that. This allows us to remove the cylinder. So we will lift the bolt handle and we will pull it out. If it gets stuck, which can happen, pull the trigger and it will release it very, very easily. No need to yank on it. All right, now we will need an Allen key, and we will remove this set screw right here that is stabilizing the barrel. Remove it all the way, don't leave it there, just to be sure you don't scratch your thread on the outer barrel, and we can start removing the barrel. All right, barrel is out. Now I will need a Phillips head screwdriver to remove the magazine catch that is also connected to the Hopup chamber. What I'm doing here is I'm pulling or pushing onto the latch to make space to get to the screw. So do it exactly like I'm doing it right now. Once it's out, just take it out like that. Now, how do we get out the chamber? Actually, we can just kind of get it out like this. And that is our inner barrel, outer barrel, and of course we can also go to the trigger box. Again, Phillips head screwdriver. And this is the trigger box removed. I'm gonna keep the screws in there so I don't lose them or mix them up. All right, that is our receiver barrel. Let's get into the Hopup unit itself. Also, if you want to open this trigger box, we will have a separate video on that, but it is rarely needed. But since this is a complete assembly and disassembly, we will do that as well, but in a separate video. Now let's continue with the Hopup. We have to untighten this nut in the front that centralizes the barrel and it clamps it together. So just pull on it counterclockwise and unscrew it. These foam inserts you can take off. Those are there to align the barrel with the outer barrel. It's foam. Here you might think that foam is kind of flimsy and it doesn't really centralize the barrel inside. Well, these are actually not centralized. These are only guiding it inside, which is then easier to assemble. It is centralized in the front with a proper end cap and an O-ring, so don't be worried about that. The barrel is also 10 millimeter, super solid, so that is not an issue at all. Let's continue with the dial itself. we will just wiggle it out. Here, be careful, this is the knob that is pushing onto the bucking. Don't lose it. You know, if you would not know about it, maybe it would just fall out. Fluffy carpets. We don't want to lose anything in a fluffy carpet. That's the worst thing in airsoft. Now I need something rather pointy, like this bit right here. And here we have a pin that is still holding the barrel, and it centers it with the chamber. So I'm gonna push the pin inside. I'll need something a little bit longer. I still cannot grab it. There we go. Now the pin goes out, and I can pull out the barrel with the bucking itself. The bucking doesn't have a knob on the inside, so you can basically turn it in any direction and it will always be centered. And if you wear it down to a point that, you know, the patch is no longer usable, just turn it slightly and it's gonna be like brand new. That's what I love about buckings of this type, that it's just so easy to assemble. You don't need to align anything. It's just the best. And it's pretty much indestructible because you can keep turning it all the way around. All right, that is the Hopup chamber. That's pretty much it. There is not much more to disassemble. It's a very simple design, which is always good. Now, obviously, the last thing that is missing is the cylinder, which we can also take a look inside. For that, sometimes you can unscrew it with your hands, but if it's tight, which it should be, it's a little bit tricky. So I'm gonna use a Leatherman with pointy pliers. I'm gonna get it going, and now I am already able to remove it. This is the cylinder head. We have the piston right here, spring, and finally the spring guide right there. Now let's disassemble the last part, that is the bolt handle. Don't forget to loosen these screws on the side. You don't have to remove them completely, just loosen them enough that we know they are not engaged with the insides. All right. This is perfectly fine. Here we have a Phillips head screw right there, which is screw glued in place because we don't want this one to start moving and make this all loose. That means you will need to use a little bit more force, and if it's really stuck, then apply some heat with a heat gun or put it in boiling water at least if you don't have a heat gun or a hair dryer. All right, there you can see the screw glue. This one really needs to be secure, that's why it's there. Now we can pull this off. Here we have the firing pin indicator, and also here we can take apart the bolt handle. Be careful, there is a pin here, and also on the inside, I'm not sure if you will be able to see it, there are also these small little pins that make the clicking, and there are springs underneath them. If they start flying around, don't worry, because I will show you how to put everything back together in the assembly video that is coming up next.